Hey guys, it's Kyla at the MJC, and today we're going to take a look at the arrears payment section of the modification form. But before we get started, as always, I just want to remind you guys that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to analyze your specific situation to determine whether the modification is the right form for you, to determine whether a court is likely to approve what you're asking for, or whether what you're asking for is sort of the best thing you can ask for or you can get in your circumstances. So if you have questions like that or additional questions about what will happen in court or evidence or things like that, you can get some brief legal advice. Here in Milwaukee, you can get brief legal advice for free through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics. If you're not in the Milwaukee area, you can contact your clerk of court to find out what sort of resources are available out where you are. All right, so let's take a look at this section. So a few just sort of things to get us started. Arrears payment. So when you have arrears, that's back child support. So it was child support that was ordered that didn't get paid. So for example, if in our situation here, we have John Smith and Jane Doe, if John was supposed to pay Jane $100 a month in child support, and let's say he gets hurt and he's not able to pay for 6 months, he would have arrears balances of $600. So $600 total that he owes Jane for that missed 6 months. And then the arrears payment is how much money is paid towards that total balance every month. So if he pays $50 per month towards that total $600 that he owes, that's his arrears payment. I make that clarification because I find a lot of people, when they look at this section, what they want to say is, I want to get rid of the total balances I owe the other person. All right, I want to get rid of that entirely. They don't want to talk about the payment. This section is just about how much you pay towards your arrears, not about the total balances of the arrears. So if you're wanting to look at that payment, you check the box for E as ever. Again, if you're not wanting to talk about the arrears payment, don't need to check that box. You can skip to the next section. And you're going to put what the arrears payment is currently. And you're going to put what it is ordered at. So a lot of people will sort of make the mistake here of either, again, putting the balances, or two, of putting the whole amount that's getting pulled from their paycheck. So for example, we've looked at this and we said, John was paying Jane $340 per month in child support. Let's say he also has, I'm going to say a $60 a month arrears repayment, just because it'll make our numbers a little more even. So down here, he wouldn't put $400, because $400 is his child support plus the arrears repay, just the arrears repayment. And so I know a lot of folks watching this may be saying, well, I don't know what that breakdown is. I know the total amount I pay, but I don't know how much is child support and how much is the arrears repayment. That's something that you can find in your order. So if you go to the Civil Records Center for your courthouse, you can be able to get a copy of your order, or if you have one in your records, you can look and it'll say what the current child support is and also what the arrears repayment or repayment of debts is. And those are the two sort of names they'll use for this. Another thing you could do is contact the child support agency. In some situations, they may know what the specific breakdown is, but they may not always be able to tell you or to know that information. So the best place to find it is definitely that court order. But again, we put what the payment currently is. And then again, per time period, just like we've been doing in the other financial sections. So we'll say per month on this one. Again, this should match how it's ordered. So now in most, at least in Milwaukee County, and I think in most counties, it's ordered per week. But if you have an older order, or if there was something strange about your order, it certainly could have been ordered per month. And again, you want to do this as it is ordered, because a lot of people also will see it comes out of their check, and they'll say, oh, it comes out of my check bi-weekly, so I should put what it is bi-weekly. But ideally, we want it to be what it is off the order. And then just like the maintenance section, you have two choices for what to do with that arrears payment. The first option is if you just want the court to recalculate it. So this would be John's job changed, he makes less money now, and he'd like the court to recalculate what that number should be. Or conversely, it could, of course, be like if Jane is filing this, if she knows John's financial situation has changed, or their child has graduated high school now, so there's not a child support payment, so now there's more money available for the arrears repay. That's if you just want the court to recalculate based on a change in the circumstances. That's going to be one. And here, if you're just wanting as soon as possible, we have you put the first of the next billing cycle. So the first of the next month, basically. So since it is February 2021 or 2022 right now, I would put March 1st. But obviously, if you're a little further in the future, you would put the first of the next month for you. The other thing you could do is you could put a specific date in the future. So let's say my child is going to graduate high school in May. And so let's say May 25th is when they'll graduate high school and the child support will stop. I could suggest that as when the new arrears repayment would take effect. So you've got that. Again, some people will want to go backwards. They'll want to say, I wish that I had asked for a different amount in the past. So I actually want it to start, January 1st of 1999. That's something where you'll want to get advice about that. As a general rule, this form is for now going forward. But if you have questions about that, that's a great thing to get some brief legal advice about. But broadly speaking, now forward or the first of the next month going forward, or a future date if there's something, like your child graduating that you're wanting to have sort of be the trigger point for this. The other option is you can pick number 2, which is where you propose a specific number, keeping in mind, of course, that the court will check how reasonable your number is. I can ask for $1 million a month from my ex, but unless he's one of the Brewers or the Bucks, I'm probably not going to get it, and even then, I'm probably not going to get it. So you'd put sort of the new amount that you're wanting it to be. So if it's $60, and let's say John wants it to go down, he could suggest that it be now $20 per month, or he could also put it weekly. So if he wants it to reflect the new weekly standard, we could change that as well. So, so we've got that there. And again, this same thing as I was saying up here can be the first of the next billing cycle or a specific date. So again, if my child graduated May 25th, I could put May 25th, but it does need to be that now going forward, not backdating necessarily. So that's kind of that for this section. You can also use it, of course, to go up. So if Jane were filing this and she wanted it to be 120 now, she could ask for that as well. So here it's just the number that you want to ask for it to be. All right, well, that is all for the arrears payment section and the end of sort of this financial section here. I'll be back in a bit to talk about the other changes section and the substantial changes section on page 3. But until we get to that, I hope this video was helpful for you, and I hope that you guys are able to go out and represent yourselves well.